Hey guys, I'm James Alexander Ellis, SCI-MX athlete and WBFF pro muscle model, and want to show you some bench press tips and tricks. One of the things I want to show you guys is how you can not only make your bench press potentially safer, but you could also maybe improve your strength on your 1 rep max and maybe learn a slightly different way of pushing the bar. Okay, so I mean, like, the bench press is probably like the #1 exercise in the gym that everybody does, and our egos get carried away occasionally, and what we tend to do is we just go, everyone presses in a certain style, and we're always trying to press like the heaviest weight possible. One of the tips that I learned from a guy called Charles Poliquin was something called the biacromial grip. Okay, so if you're wondering what that is, biacromial means a chromium process, which is the part of the shoulder, basically the edge of your collarbone. It's lining up your grip so that your middle knuckle lines up with your acromion process. So by using this type of grip, what we end up doing is doing a much more functional pressing pattern. So I'll give you an example of a regular bench press. We tend to flare the elbows pretty wide to get a better leverage for getting the weight up. This sort of thing is pretty familiar. Wide grip, elbows wide. The biacromial grip, bring the hands in, and we press with the elbows in, rather than flared. So the difference is the flare of the elbow. So that does a couple of different things. First of all, it's safer on your shoulder when you're pressing a heavier weight, because when we abduct the shoulders and we're pressing a weight, the humerus, which is the arm bone, gets slightly twisted in the socket, and just people get injuries galore. So bench pressing injuries are very, very common. So if you start to get used to using a slightly narrower grip, like I said, as far in as maybe a biacromial grip. So someone might even call this just a close grip bench press. So a close grip bench press, as most people know, is slightly more tricep focused. So you've got lots of different benefits to using this different grip. So let me give you a real world example on the bench. So you guys will be very familiar with the standard grip on the bench. Pretty wide, elbows flared. A lot of people, if they've hurt their shoulder, this is going to aggravate it. But so something like this would be pretty normal. What we're going to do with the biacromial grip is we get the trainee to bring their arms in, try and get the middle knuckle lined up roughly with the acromion process, there or thereabouts. It's usually about 10 to 12 inches, and keep the elbows flared, not flared. And the key is then we're pushing with a bit more tricep and slightly less pec. So what's going to happen is you're going to get more pressure through your triceps. It's going to thicken up your arms a bit more nicely, and also potentially recruit different muscle fibers within the pectorals themselves. So this is a biacromial grip press. In fact, what you might do is actually set the bar on your chest, set the position. You might use a spotter to help you and get it just right. But like I said, it could just be 10 to 12 inches. So most trainees are probably going to struggle to actually keep their elbows flared in, tucked in, as opposed to out wide, because most people are very, very used to this pattern of pressing. So have to be a little bit patient with this one, but it's really worth it, because when you learn to keep your elbows tucked in, like I said, you get that extra tricep recruitment, and you're going to be pressing from a much safer position. It's also a much more functional position to press from. If you think about contact sports and team sports, things like rugby, you're handing people off. We tend to push from here. We don't tend to push with the flared elbows. So the biacromial grip is probably more of a functional press as well.